محمد سوري محمد البدر سيدنا شيخ شباب الدين الدعستاني أبو الفقراء سيدنا وطبيب قلوبنا وعياد الجن وعياد الرحمن مولانا وعميرنا شيخنا شيخ عبد الله الفائز الدعستاني سيدنا وطبيب قلوبنا وعياد الجن سيدنا شيخ محمد ناصر الحقاني يا محمد عادل الغربان شامل البغداني يوسف الصديق عبد الرؤوف اليماني إمام العارفين أمام الحق لسان المتكلمين عن الناصر وعن الطيار معروف بن حافظ الخالق غوث الأنام يا صاحب الزمان يا سيدنا محمد يا حضرة الأستاذ يا شيخنا شيخ عبد الله الدعستاني يا صاحب الأنصر يا خضر يا سيدنا الخضر عليه السلام يا سيدنا جبريل يا سيدنا إسرافيل يا سيدنا ميكائيل يا سيدنا عزرائيل يا سيدنا عبد القادر سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام يا سيدنا محي الدين عبد القادر شيخنا سيدنا أويس القائن سيدنا أحمد البدر سيدنا أحمد الرفاعي أبو أيوب الأنصاري سيدنا شمس الدين عرب جلال الدين وإمام الشمس سيدنا شاو سيدنا رباني سيدنا الحسن الشاذلي إمام الجاسم وإمام الجلال سيدنا أحمد تيجاني سيدنا وبيعة العذاب وساب العمر يا ساوي ساداتنا أولياء الله عز وجل يا سيدنا أبو بكر الصديق يا سيدنا عمر بن الخطاب يا سيدنا عثمان بن عفان سيدنا علي بن أبي طالب يا أمنا سيدنا فاطمة الزهراء بنت الحبيب المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم يا آل بيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا سيدنا الحسن يا سيدنا الحسين يا وفاء سيدنا زينب يا سيدنا في سلطان يا سيدنا زين العابدين سيدنا جعفر الصادق وسيدنا محمد الله يا حضرات أولاد النبي وبناتنا أحفاد النبي ذريته يا حضرات زوجات النبي الطاهرات أمهات المؤمنين يا صاحب النبي يا شيخ النبي محمد النبي يا والدي رسول الله يا عمي رسول الله سيدنا العبد يا سيدنا العباس يا قرابة رسول الله يا صحابة رسول الله الكرام يا تامين الأمر السلام يا ولي يا سيدنا ويس بن الكتاب يا سيدنا الإمام الشافعي يا ابنة المذهب أو الإمام الشافعي يا شهداء الإسلام يا صاحب الزمان سيدنا محمد الفاتح وزواق الأرض أمين سيدنا سيدنا حوض يا أولي العزم من الرسل يا رياض العشرين من النبي يا نبي يا مرسل يا صديقين يا شهداء الصالح يا أولياء الله عز وجل يا العبر يا النبي المصطفى ديوان رسول الله يا آل حضرة الله عز وجل يا بدلاء يا مجبر يا القربى يا أوتاد يا خيار يا أخطار يا غوث يا وحيد الخليل يا صاحب الموت يا صاحب الزمان يا أئمة الإشراق يوم رجال وغير رجال الله يا العبر النبي المصطفى ديوان رسول الله يا لحضرة الله عز وجل يا رجال الله بحق الله عيننا بعون كن عونا لنا بالله عسى نحظى بفضل الله عز وجل أعلى الله تعالى درجاتكم دائما دنا مددكم ونفعنا بركات أنفاس المسلمين وأضع الماء والمحبي والمؤتوى وأضع البركات ويسعى سورة الفاتحة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجمعية أو Naqshbandiyya Aliyya way is by grounded ourselves on love of Allah Almighty, love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love of Awliyaullah Azza wa Jal, and to ground ourselves because Allah Almighty for any grounding themselves on love of Allah Almighty, love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love of Awliyaullah, He will descend without how His Almighty hand over this crowd that no one of them will be taken by shaitan or by devils or will be suffering or will be have any burdens except which is reflecting to us from not the common people around us but from ourselves, from our egoistic life, animalistic life, desires, satanic body in us. This reflects badly on the mood of the one until he has a headache, he has sickness, he will be shivering, sometimes he has fighting inside him, going on, the soul fighting the egos, the nafs and the nafs ego fighting the soul, Everyone wants to rule and to control. If the one is able to give the control of himself to his soul, to the light of Allah Almighty in him, to the light of Rasulullah in him, light of Awliyaullah in him, he will be successful here and hereafter. And the one who gives the control to his egoistic body, to his satanic body in him, he will be under the control and the ruling of his devils and egoistic nafs and under his desires, and he will be unsuccessful neither in this life or in the hereafter, the other life. And for this nothing can cure the one of us, Maulana say, nothing can cure the one of us. Even you will do your best to medicate yourself, you cannot cure yourself. It is all in the hand of Allah Almighty. It depends on how much you will be close to Allah Almighty, how much to be close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the one who is close to Allah Almighty, he will be remembering Allah Almighty all the time. And the one who is remembering Allah Almighty all the time, he will make it all the time his tongue used to make zikrullah, to be mentioning the name of Allah Almighty, to say all the time, Allah, 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 oh La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, because this is what Allah Almighty ordering to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Make it obligatory on Rasulullah, and Rasulullah make it obligatory for all, not only the one who's following Awliyaullah or Sufi ways, but for all the nation, for all children of Adam alayhi salam. Allah ordering Rasulullah and He ordering all. By Allah Almighty saying in the Holy Quran, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, always remember me and always make dhikr of me and teach and tell all your Sahaba and all your nation, all children of Adam alayhi salam, to be always remembering me, praising me, glorifying me, making tahleel for me. And for this Allah telling him in the Holy Quran, fa'lam, to be known to you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fa'lam annahu la ilaha illallah. It's an ayat by itself. No, it is by itself a verse. فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Whenever you will be making zikr of Allah Almighty, remembering Allah Almighty all the time, that you make your tongue and your heart always making zikr of Allah Almighty, mentioning the name of Allah Almighty, repenting by saying Astaghfirullah, or by praising Subhanallah, Walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-ali al-azim. If you are used to it and your tongue used to it, Allah Almighty is saying, I will be rewarding you, that I will be praying on you, and my malaika will be praying on you, to take you from your darkness of your egoistic and satanic world, and which all around you, in all whom they are addressed by also satanic world and egoistic world and desire satanic world. I will be praying on you and my malaika to take you out from this darkness, from these reflections, to purify you, to perfect you, and to put you in the lights, godly lights, divine lights, bless you by divine elements, divine lights, that you will be a one related to heaven, heavenly one related to Allah Almighty, under the lights of the reflection of the holy lights of the holy face of Allah Almighty, will be covering you, will be engraving the name of Allah Almighty in your heart, in your body, and the prayers of Allah Almighty on one of us, enough for Him, better than all his worshipping, better than all whatever good deeds he's doing. Nothing in front one prayer from Allah Almighty on us. When Allah Almighty pray on someone, he will be successful and he will be blessed by divinely godly body from Allah Almighty. Allah will change his element from earthly element to divinely elements, to godly lights elements from Allah Almighty will be blessing him, Allah Almighty. And this only can come to the one by zikrullah, only by zikr of Allah Almighty. And for this, all the Sufi ways is to remember the people by what they promise Allah Almighty in the day of promises. The Imams of these Sufi ways, the awliya, is only to remember us by what we promise Allah Almighty in the day of covenant and promises when Allah inviting all the soul to be reaching, to be invited to His divine presence, so that to be ascending with the Imamiyya or sealed of Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam into those or less in the divine presence of Allah Almighty. And there we promise Allah Almighty that we will be only carrying His trust, which He blessed to us, and to be only filling our time in all the journey from the eternal forever, and with this earth is one station of it. We will be filling totally all our time by zikrullah, by salatu wa salam on Rasulullah, by worshipping Allah Almighty. And the sign of worshipping Allah Almighty to keep the 5 prayers with the recommended sunans, which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said before and after every prayer to pray a sunnah. He said in the hadith, every azan and between any azan and iqamah there is 2 rak'at or 4 rak'at of sunnah to be completed. Don't make call azan and then call quickly iqamah without praying 2 or 4 rak'at. Never Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his life entered into the obligatories except to pray 2 or 4 rak'at according how he make it as a sunnah. For example, Maghrib time 2 rak'at, Fajr time 2 rak'at, others Zuhr time, Asr time, Isha time 4 rak'at. And he said in his hadith, ما بين الأذان والإقامة ركعتي سنة لله عز وجل. Between the adhan and until they call the iqamah, the Bilal, you must pray 2 or 4 rak'at as a sunnah. This is the lowest worshipping for Allah Almighty, to fulfill your promise with Allah Almighty that He created you to worship Him. And every prayer must be in its time, not to be after 3 hours, 4 hours, or near the other time. Must be in its time, in the first hour. Because Allah Almighty promising Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if the one pray in the first 15 minutes, especially the last nation of you, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last nation who will pray in the first 15 minutes till 1 hour, mostly in that 1 hour, as if in every prayer he is standing on Arafat, I will be looking at him. And for the last of your ummah, I will be taking it by Almighty hand, not using malaika to be interfering between the one who is praying and between me. And for some, Allah will be opening for them in the prayer, in ruku', in sujood, to be under the reflection of the lights of the holy essence of Allah Almighty, and to see when they give the tahiyyat saluting Allah Almighty, they will be in between His hand, under the reflection of His lights. And when they reach to give salat wa salam on Rasulullah, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi, direct speech, they will see the spirituality of Rasulullah in front of them, And as they give salam to Rasulullah, Rasulullah will give salam to them. Then they will give salam to all ibadullah salihin, which make all awliyaullah, all sahaba, all the prophets to be available to answer them by giving them salam. And the salam coming from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and salam coming from prophets, from sahaba, from awliyaullah, for us is not like ordinary thing to us, but Allah Almighty also saying to His beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my beloved Muhammad, my beloved seed of prophet, pray on them. صلي عليهم فإن صلواتك سكن لهم. It is also by itself a holy verse of Holy Quran, not connected with any verse before it or connected with any verse after it, but it is by itself a verse. صلي عليهم فإن صلواتك سكن لهم. Pray on them, because your prayers get them by calmness and by peaceful heart and peaceful life and successful life, if you pray on them. And the Sahaba, they told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how to pray on you? He say Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim, which means, oh Allah Almighty, we refer to you, Allahumma, referring to you, to pray on our behalf on Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi related to Rasulullah physically or spiritual, which means to all the Sahaba and to all Awliyaullah and to all Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi descending of Rasulullah, either from his soul or from his physical body. Because no one can pray on Rasulullah except Allah Almighty. And whenever we say give salat wa salam on Rasulullah, either we say sallallahu ala Muhammad, that Allah Almighty praying on Rasulullah, or we say Allahumma wa Allah Almighty on our behalf, salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa sallim. We refer only to Allah Almighty to pray. Only Allah Almighty can pray on Rasulullah. And Rasulullah teaching that say Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim, it is enough that you give me prayer, then Allah on behalf of you will be praying on me and will be written as if from you coming to me. If anyone is praying on me and giving salat wa salam, Allah ordering me to give salat wa salam on him, to pray on him. This is the meaning of this ayat. Maulana say, how much you give prayers on Rasulullah, Rasulullah will be praying on you. And prayers, one prayer of Rasulullah on one of us, like the prayers of Allah Almighty, will be better for us than all our worshipping and whatever we are doing. Nothing in front, one prayer also from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on us. The Sahaba use in every minute asking Rasulullah to pray on them, to make istighfar for them to Allah Almighty, to be connecting them all the time with Himself and with the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Never they, from time entering into Islam till they passed away from this life and were so close and well connected with Rasulullah, all their mind remembering only Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their heart only busy with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not like nowadays, all the nation of Rasulullah, the majority of them, not all of them, the majority of them, they are busying themselves with everything other than Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, forgetting Allah Almighty, forgetting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They put them on their back and they are facing only how to be living prosperous life, how to be living secure life, how to be living in luxury life, how to be living in happiness and not to be under burdens or sickness or poverty or all kinds of miseries of this life. They are trying by themselves to be doing this for themselves, to benefit themselves. They think it is in their hand. And Allah Almighty say, don't busy yourself by this, busy yourself by always well connected and remembering Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Be busy with them. I will sponsor you to give you whatever you will need in this life. From prosperous life, health, wealth, luxurious life, because already everyone, already before he is created and descended to this earth, Allah Almighty saying, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. It is Allah Almighty program in heavens, in His divinely will, whatever you are going to face on this earth in your future life, and whatever risk Allah Almighty providing to you, it is already programmed in heaven and will be Allah descending over over you without even doing anything except only worshipping Allah Almighty and be in the side of Allah Almighty, in the side of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because by the praising and dhikrullah and salat wa salam on Rasulullah, they will be rewarding us by praying on us, by blessing us by peaceful life, by prosperous life, by prosperity and successful life here and hereafter. But the one who will remember them, for example, once a day, once a night, 5 prayers only, and not all the time, then not all the time they will be also giving him what he likes, but they him to be running after this dunya, after this life, and getting nothing from it except suffering and all kind of sickness and headaches, and always the one will be complaining and complaining. Instead to complain, say, Tawakkaltu ala Allah, depend on Allah Almighty. I am depending on you, Allah Almighty. I am not going to complain neither to you or anyone. Only I am depending, say, Tawakkaltu ala Allah. You create me, and you create my deeds, and you create everything related to me in this life. We are not creating for ourselves anything. Allah Almighty, He said, I created you. I created your deeds, I created your rizqi, I created everything, and what is programmed for you, never you will be going out of this life until you will get all what I promise you. But if you make yourself busy with me, making zikr of me, filling all your time by zikrullah azza wa jalla, by worshipping Allah Almighty, by salat wa salam on Rasulullah, at least to have good intention, good niyyah for Allah Almighty, for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for mu'mins and mu'minat, for Muslims and Muslimat, and for all whom they are in brotherhood or sisterhood as a human being, not to be attacking or making fitna or backbiting to anyone, but to be with all in brotherhood or sisterhood, to be humble to everyone, to have open heart to everyone, to welcome everyone in your heart, but don't follow everyone. Open heart for everyone if he is in the right way of Allah Almighty, but if he is the way of shaitan, don't follow him, respect him, be humble to him. If he asks you to serve him, but don't follow his teaching, don't follow his beliefs, don't follow what he is trying to convince you that this is the way of Allah Almighty. For example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Almighty descending on him the Holy Quran without using musical instrument. The one who has nice voices, even not nice voices, if they read according how Allah descending the Holy Quran, it will be like singing, and malaika will be supporting them by godly music from Allah Almighty. And for this Rasulullah say, all kind of musical instrument is forbidden on my nation, except for those whom they have nothing business except to be working in this field. For them is okay, but not to enter it into their hearts, and not to make it entering to the movements, and not to be believers coming to be in the way of this kind of musical instrument. Let it be for whom they are non-Muslims, non-believers, or they like these things, so that you are for this. All Grand Shaykh never giving permission. Only Maulana Shaykh Nazim between all Grand Shaykh, he give permission for some of these Western murids, like Shaykh Hassan, German Shaykh Hassan, or this or that, whom they, before they were be in Islam, converted to Islam, they were educated to be playing musical instruments, and they are earning their food and their life by using this. There is permission for them, but permission for whom they are not as a hobby taking it, or something to make fitna between the mu'mins and mu'minat by using these instruments, this they will be scolded and questioned by Allah Almighty. And from Muslims, for example, one who is living earned by this kind of musical instrument, Allah giving permission, because better than to be in need for people, using them, depending on Allah Almighty to forgive him, but not in his intention, in his niyyah, to make people fitna between people, and instead to be busy in zikrullah Azza wa Jal, to be busying themselves in listening to music and to songs. Now all the people, instead to put CDs of Holy Quran, to listen to Holy Quran, all of them they put music all the time, because they say they will be relaxing, but really they are not relaxing, only reflecting on their hearts all means of suffering, because it is the instrument of shaitan. He is playing with them to make them to forget zikrullah and salat wa salam on Rasulullah. And for this, the one Maulana says that the benefit of our meetings in Khatmul Khaja Khan and zikrullah Azza wa Jal, and the one who is continuously every week at least one time to be in Khatmul Khaja Khan and zikrullah Azza wa Jal, male or female, and one time another meeting as a suhbah, as a teaching of awliyaullah, of cutting them from the station of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anh, or Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anh, from whom they are the channels to bring this knowledge from the oceans of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to awliyaullah. The ones whom sit in the Sahaba and this crowd, and in the crowd of Zikrullah Azza wa Jal and Khatmul Khajatan, with the one who is connected, not with anyone, but with the one who is connected with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with Awliyaullah, the one who is connected with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and everyone whom sitting to make zikr or khatam, he knows well if he is connected or not. If he is not connected, and he is authorized, approved by Maulana Shaykh Nazim, giving permission him to do the zikr and the khatam, then Maulana Shaykh Nazim will be responsible to connect this crowd whom they are sitting with him. But the one who is not authorized, and he is claiming that he is an awliya, or claiming that he is something important, and he knows he is not connected, and never connecting himself, he is even with Maulana Shaykh Nazim, or Grand Shaykh, or these awliya whom well connected with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they will not be sponsoring him or accepting his crowd to be connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to the divine presence of Allah Almighty. And no one else than Shaykh Maulana Shaykh Nazim Qaddasallahu Sirruh, or the one who represents, like now Shaykh Muhammad, can give another one to make zikr and khatam, or to make sohbah. No one else can give permission to anyone other than Shaykh Muhammad to give permission to another one to give sohbah or khatam or zikr. He will be under the cursing of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and under all grand shaykhs and awliya, because he is not connected. He is not connected and cannot connect himself. How to connect the people? Like the ulamas in the Islamic world, whom they give the khutbah, the speech of Friday of Jum'ah, all of them not connected. How to connect these hundreds of people in the masjid, in the mosque? They cannot. And instead to give benefit, they give poison to the people, and the people, instead to be under the mercies of Allah Almighty, they will be under the suffering of whom He is conducting the prayer for them and giving them the poison speech. Even he's saying in the hadith of Rasulullah, even ayat, but it is coming as poison to them, because coming from his egos, from his satanic word, from himself, not saying this from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, and he not able to connect himself or to connect all the jama'ah, the crowd whom they are sitting with him. Unless a one who is already connected and he knows that he is connected with all the grand shaykhs, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is connecting him with the divine presence of Allah Almighty, this, and they are so few, rarely to find one like this, and they have permission to be making crowd and to make zikr and khatam. But usually these people, they hide themselves. All awliya now hiding themselves. If anyone, he wants to show himself or to be well known by people and to be famous by people, mean he is never connected, because Allah Almighty ordering all prophets and all Sahaba, and Rasulullah ordering all the Sahaba, ordering all awliya of Allah Almighty to be totally forgotten and forgotten by all people. Only the one who remembering them and connected with him is with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this Allah Almighty saying in the holy hadith Qudsi of Allah Almighty, أوليائي تحت قبابي لا يعلمهم غير. My awliya, the real awliya, whom I choose them and dress them by light of wilayah, they are under my domes, in my throne. And every awliya has a dome under the throne, in the throne of Allah Almighty. They are there, settling themselves in these domes, in the throne of Allah Almighty. And Allah saying they are under these domes. No one knows them except me, Allah Almighty. And of course Rasulullah, because Rasulullah is the one dressing them by lights of wilayah from Allah Almighty. Only was given permission for Sahaba, some of them, like Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu, and then whom Rasulullah gives them good tidings that they are people of Jannah, to advise the rest of Sahaba to make sahbah for them. But in between them also only for Siddiq and for Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. And Allah Almighty was raising prophets to spread His message to people. And to awliya, Allah Almighty isn't ordering them to crowd people around them, to make people loving them or facing them, but to make people loving Allah Almighty and Rasulullah and Sahaba and prophets and awliyaullah and Ahlul Bayt. These awliya to make people facing Allah Almighty and facing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, loving Allah Almighty and loving Rasulullah, not to make themselves to be faced or to be loved. They don't care. They have a job, their position, they are employed, Allah employing them only to connect people with Allah Almighty and with Rasulullah without their interference, without making themselves to be in between the people and Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, only to guide, to be imams for them, to guide them and to run away, to be forgotten then from them. People to forget them, not to be involved with people and to be involving themselves, to be in charge for anything the people they had or they are doing, or why they are doing like this, or ordering them to do like this, or they say now coming a message to do like this or like that. Well, they have no authorization, all awliya, to do this. Only the authorization for the awliya who can order all awliya and order all creations by the order of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is called al-Ghawth, Qutb al-Ghawth, or as in for common people whom they have Sufi taste, they call him Sultan al-Awliya. There is only one Sultan of Awliya. And there is only one Sultan of Prophets, Sayyidina Muhammad, seal of Prophets, Khatam al-Nubuwwah, the seal of Prophets. Also there is only in the Holy Diwan Assembly of Rasulullah a throne facing the throne of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for Sultan al-Awliya. There is from pre-eternal forever only one Sultan of Awliya. Not there is, as everyone saying to everyone, you are Sultan of Awliya, this is Sultan of Awliya. No. Sultan of Awliya must be the seal of Awliya also. The one whom from him all the lights of Wilaya will be dressed to all the prophets and to all Awliya. Because every prophet before to be dressed by Rasulullah by the lights of prophets must be chosen as an awliya to Allah Almighty. And the lights of Wilaya, Rasulullah will order sealed of awliya, who is the Sultan of awliya, to pass this light to his heart and to build his heart to be lightened by the lights of Wilaya to Allah Almighty as a friend to Allah Almighty, chosen by Allah Almighty. Then Rasulullah will dress him by the lights of secret of prophecy to be connected and have revelation, and either to be talking to Allah Almighty and to be connecting people directly with Allah Almighty. Like this story. Now everyone say to anyone, you are Sultan, you are Sultan, you are Sultan. How many Sultans of Awliya we have? And the real, when Shaykh said and Maulana, only there is one Sultan of Awliya, who is the seal of Awliya. And never he was hiding himself all his life. No one knows him except Allah Almighty, Rasulullah, and all awliya from pre-eternal forever, past awliya and Sahaba, present one, coming one, all only they know. This this Qutb, this Ghawth, sealed of awliya, and they get the lights of wilaya from him. No one can even advise or interfere in any one of creation of Allah Almighty unless he will get permission from him. Without permission from Sultan of Awliya, sealed of Awliya, no one of the Awliya can interfere in anyone. And the one who knows that he is connected with them, this one can connect any crowd sitting with him, knowing him or they don't know him, but he can connect them. But others than whom are connected with sealed of awliya, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Almighty connected crowd, cannot, only it will be like barakah for them, like putting for them nice perfume. But if he is going to replace Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and sealed of awliya and sultan of awliya by himself, and people to face him and to love him, and to be running after him, then all of them, they will be missing the way of Allah Almighty, missing the way of Rasulullah, instead to be worshipping Allah Almighty and Rasulullah and all their love towards Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, like Sahaba and Awliya, they will be then all facing that one because he's a famous one, and you will see that the famous one who claimed that he's Awliya, big crowd around him. While the real Awliya, always they have few. Allah saying few, for the one whom in the right way, in tariq of haqq, they are few around them. وَقَلِيلٌ مِنْ few وَقَلِيلٌ مِنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ Allah Almighty. Some prophets, they used to have 1, 4, 5 believers. Some prophets, 70 believers. Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, 1,000 years he lived, and he has 70 believers only. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, Allah gave him 70,000 believers, because they are the descendant of Sayyidina Ibrahim, Sayyidina Ishaq, Sayyidina Yaqub, children of Israel. They reached to 70,000. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, how much he was powerful. He used to have only 10 disciples or 11 disciples. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, he has only one, his cousin, Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam. He is the biggest prophet after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only Allah Almighty making the big nation in his life to seal the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He gave him, according to the number of all the prophets Allah sent them to children of Adam alayhi salam, 124,000 Sahaba, male and female. And every one of these Sahaba or Sahabiyat, male or female, were inheriting a secret of one of the prophets which Allah Almighty sent them before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, till the appearance of seed of Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why I am telling all this story, to reach what Maulana say and Grand Shaykh say in their Sahaba, that the ones whom they sitting in Zikrullah and crowding them was a well-connected one, or sponsored by Maulana Shaykh Nasr, Qaddasallahu in this time, before in time of Grand Shaykh, by Grand Shaykh for all times, even before him, his Shaykh, like this, the one who sponsored by these all Grand Shaykhs, and by nowadays Maulana Shaykh Nasr, this crowd whom they meet weekly for Zikrullah Azza wa Jal, and Sahba and Khatmul Khajakan, Allah Almighty in the day of Yawm al-Qiyam, first of all they pass from this life, and all of them seek the spirituality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they will be announcing the Shahada in front of Rasulullah, and Rasulullah will telling them that he accepting them as his nation and a spiritual Sahaba for him. By this high rank, Allah Almighty then will dress them by divine begodly lights, and by these lights Allah Almighty will not send angel of death, because he will be burned by the lights of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty by his almighty hand, without harm, their soul will be stuck on the hand of Allah Almighty, and Allah will be taking their soul. And then Allah Almighty will make their grave full with light, that the malaika questioning, who malaika to question, cannot approach to that grave to ask and question this one. They will be also melted and burned by his lights, and will be answering the question whom is responsible for him, which means Maulana Shaykh Nasr or Grand Shaykh or Awliyaullah. And then after his grave is full with lights, in day of judgment, when Allah Almighty surviving everyone again, and they want to question them, before the court to open and to question everyone, Allah Almighty will be calling whom they used to be crowding themselves in Zikrullah, in Khatmul Khajakan. Because Allah Almighty, He was the one to start this Khatmul Khajakan for His beloved seed of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and appointed a Khalif for him, Sayyidina Abdul Khaliq Rojdawan, radiyallahu anhu, for all Khatams till day of Yawm al-Qiyam. So if anyone not connected, Sayyidina Abdul Khalid Ujdawani will not come and attend or take responsibility for this crowd to connect them with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and with the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty will be calling whom they crowd themselves and busying themselves in the past life by zikrullah azza wa jal. Let come to me first, and they will be like lightnings. Lightnings, how the lightnings in dark night, it will give lights like this. They will be appearing between the crowd of Day of Judgment, and all of them, they will be invited and crowded themselves in the divine presence of Allah Almighty, making sujood to Allah Almighty until Allah Almighty ordering them, raise your head. And now He will tell them, time to reward you. You are busying yourself by me and by my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by zikrullah, praising, mentioning my names, salat wa salam on Rasulullah, even once a week, and Allah will be very happy because they are connected. When connected, Allah will create malaika from their breathing during the zikr and the khatm al-Khaja Khan to continue forever for them zikrullah azza wa jal, never stopping by this meeting which we will make for zikrullah or khatm. For example, we say 100 times La ilaha illallah, or 70 times, or 33 times, or Allah 33 times, 100 times. Then we will stop. Allah will create malaika to continuously, on our behalf, to continue making zikr, which we did it in that Khatm al-Khaja Khan, and this meeting forever, and they will be written on our books as if we did it. And for this Allah Almighty will invite all these ones, invite all the zakirina and zakirat, male or female, and they will be lightening, approaching and crowding themselves, making sujood to Allah Almighty, and Allah will say, time to reward you. This is the benefit of the zikr and the khatam, which now they are all, everyone attacking the other in our Naqshbandiya way. Some they are naming themselves by this way, some with other way, some with not following the right name of Naqshbandiya Aliyah way. They think this is something good, but they don't know that it's confusing people and make all of them to be confused. Some of them run away, some of them not accepting, some of them they don't know what to do. Only sickness coming to their heart, because the one of us follow awliya, follow Sufi way, to have peaceful life, to have peaceful heart, not to be confused and to be unhappy and to be seeing how the Muslims, how the mu'mins, how the ones in this Sufi way, same Shaykh, same Prophet, Allah Almighty is one, and they are fighting each other for what for? What for fighting each other? What for making everyone on his own a shop? What for? What benefit? You are going to be a king or to earn money from these dervish poor people? All of them, they need to be given money, to spend on them money. You are not going to earn anything. Only you want to make your egos and your satanic world and yourself famous and happy that people listening to you. What benefit to you if you are not connected to tell people that I will connect you with Allah Almighty, giving them messages from Rasulullah, from Allah Almighty, and he is not able to control his children, his sons and daughters, or his wife, not able to rule his family or to control himself. How you want to control whom Allah is saying no one to control anyone else than me or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Allah Almighty only giving shafa'ah and controlling for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to his nation, because the cattle never will be questioned, only the shepherds will be questioned. And Allah saying in the Holy Quran, وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. In Surah Yasin, we read it every morning of Tahleel. We say what we say. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ فِي إِمَامٍ مُبِينٍ. That Allah Almighty, everything, Allah Almighty loaded it and made only one well-seeing, shining Imam in his divine presence to be carrying, and he is the one responsible for all whatever Allah Almighty appeared from the ocean of La ilaha illallah, from the divine attributes as a creator. Allah Almighty, whatever is appeared is reflected and needed by the hands of Allah Almighty as lights in the divine word of Muhammadun Rasulullah. He is the only one to be responsible for every one of his cattle. Allah created all the creation like a cattle to Rasulullah. And he is the Imam, he is the shepherd, and he is going to be questioned on behalf of all. Allah Almighty saying, how about the day when I will bring from every nation the one who witnessing them, which means the prophets, then I will be coming by you, my beloved Muhammad, to witness all these whom they witness that they give my message to my people. Only Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the one to witness all prophets and all children of Adam alayhi salam in the divine presence of Allah Almighty, and only his witness and his shafa'ah is acceptable by Allah Almighty. Even for all the prophets, not accepted until Rasulullah will be witnessing them and making for them shafa'ah. And then Allah Almighty will tell, I am rewarding now, time to reward you, whom busying yourself by zikrullah and salat wa salam on Rasulullah. Ask me and I will give. They will tell him by one voice, because this knowledge will come from sealed of awliya, who is, and Sayyidina Abdul Khan was the one, Sayyidina Shah al-Maqshudan, whom responsible for all whom they are in the Khatm al-Khajatan and zikrullah azza wa jal. They will get this knowledge from the heart of Siddiq radiallahu anh, who getting it from Rasulullah, teaching them to say in one voice that in the past life we were busying ourselves by you, O Allah Almighty, by you dhikrullah, by mentioning your name, not forgetting you, always remembering you. Now when we are in your divine presence, we ask anything else than you, only we want to own you, O Allah Almighty, to own Allah Almighty, to own your beloved Rasulullah Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah will tell them, done as you like, and Allah will open an ocean of lights, will be swallowing all these dhakireen and dhakirat, all male, female, who used to busy themselves by zikrullah. Allah will make them to be entering in the ocean of lights and to be ascending this ocean to neighborhood of Allah Almighty and neighborhood of Rasulullah, and all of them, they will be entering into the paradise of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, which is the highest paradise after the paradise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like this, Allah Almighty saying, this crowd which they are meeting on zikrullah azza wa jal and salat and salam on Rasulullah and Khatm al-Khajatan, especially with an authorized one by Maulana Shaykh Nazim Qaddasallahu Sirruhu, or by Granche, or by Granche, by Granche, by Granche, by all awliyaullah azza wa jal, and he is well connected and he knows that he is blessed this from the mouth of Granche or the mouth of Maulana Shaykh Nazim, that he is by the order of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam well connected, and he can connect this crowd with all Grand Shaykhs, with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the divine presence of Allah Almighty. And this was given in time of a Grand Shaykh for two only. To Maulana Shaykh Nazim Qaddasallahu Sirruhu was given, and he said Maulana Grand Shaykh, whenever Maulana Shaykh Nazim not available, Adnan will be replacing, and after him he continuing. But for some sickness getting on me, I was resigning to Shaykh Muhammad, and he was continuing Islam. And for this only was given to two. No one else was given. Anyone saying, only claim it. Don't listen to it. And it is already written in this copybook of a Grand Shaykh. In one of the Sahaba, he used to do it, Grand Shaykh, and he was saying only the ones whom I give them to connected with me and to connect, they are only Maulana Shaykh Nazim Qaddasallahu Sirruhu and Adnan. If Maulana Shaykh Nazim not available in one place, then Adnan will be replacing, and he will do the zikr and khatam and the sahaba and connect the people with me. Like this, Grand Shaykh was saying in this song. And for this, the one whom now claiming Maulana Shaykh Nazim also authorizing some deputies for him, but as they want to continue the line, he is authorizing only Shaykh Muhammad to be continuing the line of Naqshbandiyya Aliyya way as representing his father, but not anyone else other than him. No one else other than him is authorized to make sahba or to make zikr khatim. All from themselves they are making this, and for the women he authorized Hajj Ruqiyya to do for them the khatim and zikr. And so Maulana, he fixed it for in two, for male, for man with Shaykh Muhammad, and for woman with Hajj Ruqiyya. Only these two they can connect, other than them they cannot connect. Anyone cannot connect. And the most important, Maulana saying, Grand Shaykh of the Sufi way is to connect the one with Allah Almighty and with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and with awliya, to build up his heart. Because all of us, we ruined our hearts, which Allah Almighty is saying, build up your hearts. Because the hearts, I choose it to be a house for me. But all of you, you ruined your hearts. Neither Kaaba is my house, neither Medina is my house, neither Quds al-Sharif is my house, neither heavens or earth or throne a house for me. Only the hearts of children of Adam, believers, children of Adam alayhi salam, they are the houses of me. ما وسعتني لا سماء ولا أرضي ولكن وسعني قلب عبدي المؤمن. And for Allah Almighty in divine presence, all children of Adam alayhi salam, they are mu'mins, they are mu'mins, they are believers. Because when they were soul, all of them, they are lights of Allah Almighty. And for this he was addressing the soul and telling them that neither heavens or earths can, I choose them to be a house for me. Only I choose the heart of mu'mins to be house for me, to settle my throne, to settle my greatest name, to settle my lights and malaika to be descending on these hearts. And for this Allah Almighty is saying in Surah An-Nur, Allah نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح. The end of the ayat, في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه, which means not all houses, some houses, في بيوت, في, which means some, في بيوت, in some houses Allah gives permission to be built up by awliyaullah Azza wa Jal and by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then to complete it and making the finishing for it, to be houses for Allah Almighty, so that the name of Allah Almighty to be called on it, to be mentioned in it, to raise the adhan of it in that house, in that house. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه. You can see it in the translation, or that's how you can translate it in your language. The meaning of this ayat, you can translate it as Fawzi in the Malay language, في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه. What is the meaning of it? So they can understand better. Can you translate it?
بسم الله. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال. Kerana Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala izinkan pada seorang itu, ada yang Allah Taala izin fi adzinallahu an turfa'a, bahawa dia mengangkatkan dan nama-nama Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. I think tomorrow it will be better. Inshallah to translate.
Yeah, this is the meaning of it. Inshallah. Which means in some houses Allah chooses, some house Allah chooses to be houses for him and to be built up by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his assistant, the awliya and Sahaba, and to mention only the name of Allah Almighty, to be called the name of Allah Almighty. And not every house is a house of Allah Almighty in this physical earth, but in our spiritualities, in our realities, in our souls, in our atoms, lights, which coming from La ilaha illallah, descending to Muhammad Rasulullah, and continuing this journey. All the hearts of these realities are houses for Allah Almighty, built up. But for the physical body in this life, Allah choosing some of the hearts, and they are chosen to be the Sahaba, Prophets, Sahaba, Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi, Awliyaullah, today of the judgment. Not everyone. Even son of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. Sayyidina Nuh was from the 5 main prophets. Even his son of a prophet and main prophet, which Allah chose him and loved him so much to Sayyidina Nuh. And this was so much Allah Almighty give a good recommendation about him, that with the sincerity to Allah Almighty and love to Allah Almighty. And even though Allah punishing him because he make dua on his people to be all finished and to be taken by the flood, Allah also got upset from this dua, but he accepted and he sent the flood and finished them. But what he did, he punished his son, that he was drowning his son also with the common people, the non-believers. Even his son was believer, son of prophet, must be prophet, even though he was finished and passed away with the common people, with an unbeliever. The sons of Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, all of them, they used to be prophets. They used to be 11 sons. Even though they are prophets, they have secret of prophecy, because son of prophet must be prophet, even though they disobey Allah Almighty. What they did, they catch their youngest brother, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, and they want to kill him and finish him. Then one of them has some mercy in his heart, say, no, we throw him in the well. Let any caravan coming will collect him, or he will die in the well. And so they decided, and they were making their best to their father to give them the youngest son, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, to take him for a picnic. The father, Sayyidina Yaqub, was not happy to send him. And he said, I cannot miss him 1 minute. I want to be seeing him all the time. He was so young, not even 4 years of age. And they insist he will be playing and like this, and said to be all day sitting in the house. And they convinced their father, all prophets, and they took him. And what they did, they threw him in the well. And Allah sending revelation over Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam to tell them, don't do it, Allah will punish you. Even you are prophets, Allah doesn't care. Even you are the son of a prophet, Allah doesn't care, will punish you. If you kill one, or you insult one, or you curse one, or you backbite one, or you be rude with anyone. But they didn't listen to revelation of Allah Almighty. And they come evening to their father crying with the shirt of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. They slaughter a goat or a chicken, and the blood they put it on the shirt, and they told him, he was watching us, we were making a racing, and then a wolf came and he ate him, and this is the blood on his shirt. But the father, he said, I am not seeing the teeth of this wolf is making the shirt to be stretching. No sign of teeth of a wolf, only blood. Perhaps any blood, you put it and you killed him. They say, no, you don't believe us. They swear by Allah Almighty that a wolf and they are prophets. What do you think Allah will accept? Even they are the son of prophet. Allah will accept, and Allah punished them all their life until they were obliged at the end of their life, all of them, to make sujood to Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And Allah rewarded Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam because he was so patient and humble to them and forgiving them that he was the king of Egypt. And I guess the one who keep always good intention for everyone, good humbleness, good politeness with everyone, and respecting and loving everyone, but not need to follow him and his teaching, but to respect and to love everyone. For example, even when Shaykh he used to say, don't curse anyone, even shaitan, only Allah will curse him. You have nothing. If Allah Almighty taking from shaitan all his badness and putting on you, and giving all your goodness to shaitan, you can't do anything. You can't say to Allah Almighty, why you did like this? No one can say. So we must be always respecting everyone, but we don't follow shaitan. We disobey shaitan and we obey Allah Almighty. Anyone who is teaching us to miss the way of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, even you love him, you respect him, even he is very close to you, but don't follow what he is saying, only follow what your hearts inspiring you from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. No one need any message from another one. No one is authorized to give a message to anyone. Everyone, Allah is sending malaika, angels to inspire his heart by what is the best for him, what to do, what not to do, what is forbidden, what is halal, what is haram. Haram, shaitan, don't approach or obey. Halal, Allah Almighty, Rasulullah, quickly obey and follow. And for this Allah Almighty saying, anyone want to reach to me, easy, so easy to reach to me. The Sahaba, they asked, how ya Rasulullah to reach Allah Almighty? He say, only two things. If you did it like lightning, like missiles, you reach to the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Disobey shaitan and yourself and obey Allah Almighty. And this is the Hadith Qudsi of Allah Almighty. Rasulullah say, Allah saying in the Hadith Qudsi, Abdi ata'ani, my servant obey me. I will make you Rabbani, a godly one, divinely one. If you say to something be, it will be. عبدي أطعني أجعلك ربانيا إذا قلت للشيء كن فيكون. May Allah forgive us and mercy us. لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله. لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, محمد حبيب الله عليه صلاة الله. لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله, محمد نبي الله عليه صلاة الله وسلامه. إلى شرف النبي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه. أسأل سادنا وصديقنا الفاتحة. Allah bless all of you. Subhanallah. Now we can rest. 1 hour. Yeah. This was coming from the station of one Shaykh or another Shaykh class. What for me and for you, I didn't prepare and coming, I also opened the book. Which page Maulana told me stop there and read, I stopped and read. And for this, I am like you listening, only translating from what they want to make us to be advised by them, only translating to myself and to all of you. I am advising myself first and then whom they are listening. May Allah forgive us now. There is still time for us, isn't it? Half an hour. Half an hour. You like to wait the Asr and because